a handover.
I know, go away. Janice has been in stereo tonight, you see, in case you're confused by all of this. Twice as lovely. And we're hoping, aren't we, Janice, that Gary Davis will be in stereo fairly soon. One channel for each face.
Yes.
On a night when a startled world discovered that Huey Lewis and the News is its top band, if that doesn't send you out onto the hills and cliff tops to light beacons, nothing will. We have two debut sessions, one from the Cramps and the other from the Mackenzies. And there was no special award tonight for me. After 25 years of broadcasting, I wore my suit just in case I was summoned, but there you are. This is the Jesus and Mary chain and some candy talking.
An award!
Jesus and Mary chain, some candy talking from the NME free EP of a week or so ago. And if you were listening to Janice, and you should have been, she played a track, at least one anyway, from the Melody Maker EP that comes out with this week's edition of the paper, which also has tracks on it from the Men They Couldn't Hang, the House Martins. And she played the one by Cactus World News, I think. May played Mark Almond and the Willing Sinners, although I think she said she was going to play that tomorrow night. But she's given me her copy of the record, covered in fingerprints, and I shall listen to it and see if any of the songs have references to bottoms in them or anything like that, which would make them unplayable. And if they are decent and clean and God-fearing, then I shall perhaps play tracks from it as well. And in case you're puzzled by our reference to Gary Davis, apparently Janice was saying that on the television this evening he was urging people to send in demo tapes, or to continue sending in demo tapes, and we actually didn't know that he listened to them in those sort of quantities. But don't forget, if you've sent tapes to Janice and myself and had no response, then Gary's your man, and he'll be very pleased to get demo tapes from you, and I'm sure he'll listen to them all very carefully. These are the Meters. have to confess to you that I'd never heard that track prior to getting hold of the LP Here Come the Meter Men, which is on Charlie Records. Those are the Meters, and that's called Joog, J-O-O-G. I really like stuff like that, actually sort of pared down to the essentials, which brings us rather prettily to Half Man, Half Biscuit. And you're wondering to yourselves, which track from the LP is he going to play us now? Not a track from the LP, a track from the forthcoming EP. I'd rather talk to Plankton than dance with you. That's Half Man, Half Biscuit, and that's from it's called Albert Hammond Bootleg from the Trumpton Riots EP, I think is what it's going to be called. Well, I've got a sort of pencil-written information on the label. 1966 and all that is one of the other titles, and Trumpton Riots itself, and Architecture, Morality, Ted and Alice, which is a title I like very much indeed. One thing I will say, though, and this isn't where the Half Man, Half Biscuit backlash starts, although it's bound to eventually. I do think that next time they could probably afford, because somebody told me they'd sell something like 20,000 copies of the LP. I think they could probably afford slightly more sophisticated recording stuff, I think. Nothing too fancy, because I don't believe in that much either, but it gets a bit rattly, that, at times. Anyway, these are the Cramps, and What's Inside a Girl?
Mama told me the girls are hollow. Come on, baby, what's inside a girl? Yeah, like a itty bitty baby, take a party and toys. Gotta find what's riding up the boys. Sugar and spice is just a bluff, but you can tell me, baby, what is that stuff? Come on, what's inside a girl? Woo, that wavy gravy that got my head in a whirl. Come on, baby, what's inside a girl?
Excellent. The Cramps in session, and that's called What's Inside a Girl. And I was having a look at my diary to see whether I could actually get to any of their gigs yet, because this is a shameful thing to have to admit, but I've never seen them live. And for reasons which are really too complicated for me to go into at the moment, I have a Polish diary, which is so I have to work out what the months are, because I mean Luty, for example, is February, January is something like Stixon, Marzek is March, which is not a million miles from it. And anyway, the 14th of March and the 15th of March, the Cramps are at the Hammersmith Odeon. On the 18th, Sheffield University. On the 19th, Leeds University. On the 20th, Liverpool Royal Court. On the 21st of March, Glasgow Barrowlands. On the 23rd, Edinburgh Empire. On the 24th, Aberdeen Capital. On the 26th, Newcastle Mayfair. On the 27th, Manchester Apollo. On the 28th, the City Hall Hull. And on the 29th, Wolverhampton Civic Hall. And then gigs in Europe, it says here, and because I know quite a few people listen to these programmes in Europe, although the reception isn't always terrific, I'll try and find out exactly where those are and give you those later in the week. But more from the Cramps later, quite clearly. In the meantime, Roxanne Shantae.
We came here tonight to get started, to co-act ill or get retarded. I'm Shantae and the rhymes are death. Just rap so fresh till I get out of breath. Now this is something that we do have to do, and this is a team that I must introduce. I'm Shantae, he's Bismarcky. We rap so fresh that they think it's three. Three of us who rap together, strong as a bond that is tougher than leather. My name is Shantae, and yes, I'm top choice. And you can tell by the sound of my voice that the way that I rock, that I am the best, higher than the rest, plus considered fresh. Threw on my feelers and my feline suit, stepped out my house, I just knew I was cute. Bumped into Busy, had a feline too. I say, yo, Bismarcky, what you wanna do? Stepped out the house, chilling, yes, you know. Went outside, it's kinda cold, you know. So I threw on the bomber so I could get loose. Matter of fact, it was my black goose. Stepped outside, everyone was on it. I said, you like it, baby, don't you want it? They looked at me, they thought it was funny. And out of my pocket came a mint of money. Me and Biz went uptown, yes. Chilling around cause we know we're the best. And then this guy came up to me. He said, we want you to make a record, you see. Look at Biz, said, you wanna do it? He said, yeah, Shantae, there's nothing to it. I said, all right, and time has passed. I said, the money, haha, and we laughed. That's not enough. Things are getting tough and sort of rough. If you're not paying me 10 G's or more, then you might as well take your contract out the door. He looked at me, he got so mad. And then when he left, we were sort of glad. No, we don't sniff coke, we don't get high. always bite. I say my rhymes, he does the beat, and you know me and him can never be defeated. We never sing, beat it, and no, we don't eat it. And if you do not like it, well, yes, you can bite it. And don't you go and get excited. I'm Shantae, he's Bismarcky. Side by side, you know it's we. No, I don't speak French. When I say we, I mean us two, not yes, sirree. Everyone knows that I am much better. Come on, Bismarcky, get it together. Talk to the girls, you know they are whack. Tell those crabs they sound like cats. Meow, 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 meow. That subject's cute and it's sort of fine, but another subject just came in my mind. It's sort of crazy, it's sort of whack. I'm talking about $5 cracks. Running around town just sticking up each other, ready to rob each other's mother. Getting little capsules, don't want to choke, and all you do is sit down and smoke. Your jaws move in, your body gets skinny. You spend your money to your very last penny. You walk around town in the same old jeans, and yes, you know just what I mean. No, you're not cute and you're sort of whack. You're getting really skinny, only big as your hat. And if you want to beef, I'll tell you so. And here's a few things that you should know. Yes, it's crack, then it's pee. Come on, y'all, take it from me. I was told to stay away. This is a message from Shantae. You want to dress fly and have some cash? Well, stay away from me because it's like a rat. Once you get it, you start to itch. It's attacked just like a... Let's continue with what I said, because this is something to plant in your head. Because we come to party just to have action, just to prove to you that I'm not Michael Jackson. Rap so strong and rap so deaf. Rap till I get out of breath. Now we have introduced to you me and Biz the Deaf Fresh Crew. Me and Biz the Deaf Fresh Crew. That was deaf. You later.
Not absolutely a best record, but still pretty good. On Pop Art Records, an import from the Americas, Roxanne Shantae, and that's called the Deaf Fresh Crew. Now the first from the Mackenzies, and this track, or a version of it, will be the first single, out soon, they say, on Ron Johnson Records. They play on the 7th of March at Edinburgh University, Porter Row, that is, and I have an address that you can contact them for gigs and things, as they rather vaguely express it. So, from the Mackenzies, this is New Breed.
Was it worth that? How much was it worth to you? I tell you, Mr. Frank, I tell you, stop that bad habit. Stop that bad habit. Down at the wood, I see the wax wing.
Ah, superb, I think. Those are the Mackenzies, and that's called New Breed, very much carrying the spirit of Captain Beefheart into the 1980s. Speaking of which, somebody sent me a catalogue from the Good Captain's art exhibition in New York, which may have been some time ago. I forget exactly what the dates of it were, but a wonderful thing to have, because it seems that he's given up music completely now and just is concentrating on his painting, which is fine, of course, and I should very much like to see an exhibition over here. I think there was one, in fact, last year in Belgium or something like that, which I missed, of course. Anyway, while that was going on, actually, while the Roxanne Shantae was going on, I listened to the Men They Couldn't Hang contribution to the forthcoming Melody Maker EP, and there are no references whatever in it to bottoms, so I think it's pretty fair to play it.
I was born to the sound of a ringing bell. A sound it had a tale to tell. A tale that told of a time to come. Time and the ringing bell. As I grew strong, they built the land. With the labor, the brain and the hand. The brain to plan, the hand to take the crystal from the sand. One winter morning I was wed. Came a man in a hotel bed. The bells were ringing as we left the church. Ringing in my head. Ring out the bells. Ring out the bells. Ring out the bells. Years went past, the boy was born. Champagne bubbled and suits were worn. The older I get, the deeper in debt. Dusk gets nearer and dawn. Ring out the bells. Ring out the bells. Ring out the bells. And what you never had, you'll never miss. And what you've always had's like a deadly kiss. And if I had a wish, I had a time between the chimes of the clock. Sing it! Ring out the bells. Ring out the bells. Ring out the bells. Ring out the bells.
Oh, I'm glad about that, I must say. I mean, it's much better, I think. The Men They Couldn't Hang, and that's from the this week's Melody Maker free EP. The Bells is the title. I didn't like the last single at all, you know, I really didn't. And the session they did for us, the second session they did, I wasn't too keen on, to be perfectly honest with you either, but that seems to be a return to form. And this is, here's an old favourite for you.
Joe, now you're 21. Close up your books, have some fun. Grab some power and a gun. You can make the preacher run, yeah. Just become the working man. No one's gonna be happy like that. Solve your problems by turning your back. Hope the young ones show them what you like. Don't tell mom you did the interview. Something tells you that she knew. Walk back, laugh inside. Who's being taken for a ride? Don't listen to your man's side. Sort it out and question why. Hey! Now that you've had a taste, are you ready to take a bite? Looks like you got out just in time. Makes a change when you turn the light. Now go out for a second try. Running your head to get you right. Nothing new about your life. Someone's said it so many times before. Have some fun. Don't stop. Take a
Hey, Disco Joe, that is, from Wah Heat, as they were actually back then. I expect you'll have heard your parents talk about them. And I thought it's a bit hot in here, but apparently there's a fire in Broadcasting House in the basement. But rest assured, gentle listener, that no matter what happens, even if the place burns to the ground, I shall stay here and continue broadcasting to you, because I know how important it is to you. And the fact that these programmes aren't done from Broadcasting House has nothing at all to do with my courage and determination in the face of adversity. This is you, Roy, and Judge, I'll call you. Let's hope not. It's not tonight.
So long time don't walk on you when you don't feel pick up. To Babylon, stop you coming and come. Long time we don't call you when you don't feel pick up. To Babylon, stop you coming and come. War down the east, war down the south, war down the north, this is war all about. Long time we don't call you when you don't feel pick up, y'all. You hear me say, come in and come. Come for Jaja call you. And Jaja call you. You hear me say to Rasta warn you. You hear me let me say no Jaja call you. You hear me say to Rasta warn you. Night and day. Call you from Italy and call you from Rome. Black people pity me say come quick go home. Long time we don't call you but you don't feel free come. To Babylon, stop you coming and come. Run, come, I make you run, come. Don't you form them, I say you run, come. So me say, long time down, I call you, but you don't feel free, come. Now when me say, stop you coming and come. You hear me say, stop me and come. You hear me say, so stop you coming and come. For Jaja call you. Night and day, Rasta warn you. Yeah, me some say Jaja call you. Hear me say so him want you. Call you from the east and say and shout. Judgment day we will be soon all about. So Jaja call you. Run, come, Jaja want you. Mount Zion high, Jaja call you. Hear me say the Jaja want you. So Babylon me says a long time Jaja call you. Won't you don't feel free come? Why don't you stop the coming and come? I want make you not stop the coming and come. Hear me someone say the big road no come and come, but that I want you. Rastafari, I need you. That I never let you go.
That's somewhat scratchy you, Roy, and that's on Ujama Records, Jaja Call You. Tomorrow night we've got an archive session from Public Image Limited and also a repeat of an excellent session from Stars of Heaven. If you missed it the first time round, you missed a real treat. And if you were to say, well, what was so good about it? Frankly, I couldn't tell you. It was just entirely unpretentious. I would listen tomorrow and hear it. It's just really good. It made me feel excellent. And of course, as you will know, I'm a bloke who very rarely feels excellent, spends most of the time moaning. Anyway, having mentioned Public Image Limited, here's a track from the LP album, and it's called Fishing.
Burning bridges as you're crossing is not very wise.
Public Image Limited from the LP album, and that's called Fishing, and you can hear a vintage session from them in tomorrow night's programme along with the Stars of Heaven. Now, a card which I just got out of a bag of mail here, and it's something which I should have read actually almost exactly 10 minutes ago. It comes from Chris Hedges, is it Hedges, looks like, and Andy Wood, and they say, we are two lonely English assistants teaching our mother tongue to French children here in Le Mans. I've been to Le Mans, actually, for the 24-hour race. One of the very few things that you go to that isn't disappointing. You know how most things that you do, most places that you go, although you don't like to admit it, really, are slightly disappointed. But the Le Mans 24-hour race was actually better than I thought it was going to be. It's really romantic. Anyway, we'd love to have a record played to remind us of dear old Blighty. Well, I hope this one will do. Chris Hedges, if Hedges it is, and Andy Wood in Le Mans. I'd quite like to be in Le Mans myself, actually. This is Red Letter Day, and Wherever You May Run. hope that Red Letter Day are shifting lots of those. I think it's an excellent record on their own Last Generation record label. That's called Wherever You May Run. And now a single from Bob and Vi. This is Robert Lloyd of the Nightingales, and much more besides, of course, and vice versa. And it's called Keep Lying, I Love It.
Your beauty is special, it should be rewarded. Your thoughts are important, they could be exported. But what about me? How about me? Make my dreams seem true. Yeah, what about me? Tell it to me so I can get by the way I am.
Keep lying, I love it. Your personality's just about perfect. Keep lying, I like it. You're so good to be with, I don't deserve it. Now what about me? Talk about me, or just listen and nod. Talk about me, give it to me, and make it easier to be.
Don't tell me a thing I don't need to hear. You know the things I don't want to know. I feel $1 billion when you're near, but alone I feel fidgety and
So keep lying, I love it. Just you and me, it's our little secret. Keep on lying, I like it. Between you and me, a private arrangement. Butter me up, sweeten the pill, make my dreams seem true. Color my life with little white lies, or just listen and nod.
tell me some more, yeah, sing about me. Tell me I'm not stationary. More about me, blah 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 blah. Envelope me in praise, and my heart will be yours.
Excellent. On Vindaloo Records, of course. That's Bob and Vi, and Keep Lying, I Love It. Back with the Mackenzies and The Man With No Reason.
Can't be so, I'm cold, I'm not, 'cause I saw it so far. It always seems to end in name. Last month it was just the same. A man with no reason is part of the act. Here's your awareness before you nutola wemajijeka 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 nutola kulumana katumana don kulela sisi wasala zaji asifana baja la moto ni kama za sport kulumana tunataka mpaka matazo yo fanini ngoba ngofana usama ngingoma emsile mabo villa ngala bana beba ona kama jabe ngakele hayi kwa sama ngiphathe khona kwesa kaja ke ngibani ini pasida lapho kwa mtu wangutu lokhala ngemlande khona ini Paulina kwa baba balubona bona kunyelije tata la pata ngizitha napa bafana bakho sebefikile
Now, this is a name that I've not had an awful lot of time to practice, I must say. It's Philemalazo Nabochwe Heche. That sounds rather good. It sounds authentic, for sure. And it's on Vulindlela Records, and another import, of course, from Africa. Terrific, I think. Before that, the Mackenzies and Man With No Reason. Now, here's a rather heart-rending story, a letter written by the Sisters Slim, and they say they turned up to see the John Peel Roadshow and one of its recent triumphs in Edinburgh, and went to the disco downstairs, assuming that's where it all took place, and stayed there all night listening to Madonna records and Mud records and wondering why I didn't put in an appearance. And the reason was that I was thundering away 3 floors above them. They didn't discover this until I'd returned to my hotel room. And, of course, one has to learn to live with these disappointments, and it's an important part in forming your character. But a record for you, nevertheless. These are The Gun Club, and this will be Death Party.
Yeah.
That's Gun Club, of course, and Death Party. There are strange things going on in East Anglia, you know, because we've already mentioned the Thetford Breakers on several occasions, and now I get a card, and rather a nasty yellow card it is too, from Walpole St Peter near Wisbeach, Cambridgeshire, and it says, would I please play a record for Marlock's birthday? He's 15 today, and it's from Kestrel, Seltzer, and looks like Jerry Baby, the cool checker crew, as they describe themselves, and they asked me to play a record called Hello Chief. It says, we don't know who performs it, so could you tell us as well, please? Well, I don't know either, to be perfectly honest with you, but I'm sure that you'll be entirely satisfied with this, which is by the Fat Boys.
Blue 34!